Today, we're at one of the sites I've been most excited for this entire trip. The Dinosaur National Monument Fossil Bone Quarry. I've been here before. If y'all have been a subscriber or a follower on me on Instagram for a long time, you'll know that I was here like 6 years ago, give or take. But I'm so happy to be back and recording it for y'all. I'm so happy to just be back here to be able to get inside and look at some really cool stuff. And let's just dive on in and see what we find. Here, we have a very old school depiction of Stegosaurus. This is the first thing you see whenever you pull right into their main quarry visitor center parking lot. You see the tail's not up and arched out, it's on the ground. The stagomizers are coming up. You have this beautiful plays that would absorb sunlight and things like that. It's a surprisingly short, chunky neck. Would have actually, from more modern depictions, we have it more slender. This gular osteoderms would have been on the bottom, which is missing here. Very robust body. The front legs are shorter than the back legs. It's a beautiful depiction of that old school Stegosaurus. We're here at the Dinosaur National Monument, their main visitor quarry. So let's head on inside and see what they have. And let's see the rest of it and then go up to the main quarry. So the first thing you see whenever you enter is this Diplodocus femur. It appears to be real with some plaster in between there. This is from the Diplodocus that existed here in the Morrison Formation at the time. This thing would have been absolutely massive. This is just one leg bone. So you can only imagine. I can't wait to see the rest in the quarry. We come over here. We have this beautiful map of the quarry, of parts of the quarry here. We have the Yampa Beach Road. And this is all of this in the green would be Dinosaur National Monument. Here we have some rock layers here of this cool display here with another metal thing. So now let's head outside and see what this quarry has. Actually, I forgot to show this off too. They have this beautiful Camarasaurus. See those shovel-like teeth, that giant nostril there. You have the eye hole there. You have that extra hole there because they're synapsids or diapsids. I keep forgetting which one's which. Yeah, it's above their donation bin. Very beautiful. Now let's head up to the quarry. Now let's head up to the quarry and see what they have to offer. So now we're gonna wait here for the shuttle to go up to the main bone quarry, and once we get up there, I'll show y'all what's up there and we'll have a lot of fun. So here we reach the fossil bone quarry, the main quarry. So we're going to head inside and see what we discover. Here we've reached the front doors up the ramp. If we look out, this beautiful horizon of Utah. A lot of this will be Morrison Formation rock. This is an uplift, so you'll find a lot of dinosaurs out there. So we're going to head into the quarry and see a lot of these amazing creatures on this massive wall they have on display. So let's head on inside. Right off the bat, just this massive wall. We'll come right here. You get right there so you can see. You can already tell that there is so much just fossil material exposed to just that they've covered up. This is a beautiful display, and it would be absolutely amazing to be able to get up on that wall. That would be such a treat to be able to get up on that wall and see stuff. But this is a giant death bone bed that likely would have been from a prehistoric lake or river that would have flown these dinosaurs down to the riverbed, and once they reach a place where they stop, they would have fossilized by sediments falling onto them and collapsing. You see a lot of dinosaurs here. To show some of those off, some of the most common ones here, or the commoner ones here, are, I just realized, yeah, Camarasaurus, Apatosaurus is here. You have some Diplodocus material. I'm pretty sure you find some Stegosaurus and Allosaurus material. I don't know about Camarasaurus or Ceratosaurus off the top of my head. I know there's very limited Barosaurus, which is one of my personal favorite sauropods. One of those sauropods that are lesser represented from the Jurassic, but this is a beautiful bone wall, and we're gonna try and get real close to some of these cool bones. This is a beautiful wall. You see, you have a lot of partial remains. You have some vertebra, some legs there. There are a few skull materials here. If you look up there at the very top there, right there in the middle, it should be the middle of the frame, you'll see a Camarasaurus skull. You have the macronarian opening, the macronarian similar to Brachiosaurus skull structure, along with those giant shovel-like teeth that are a very good giveaway that it's the macronarian. And right there's a big old leg bone. So these creatures might not have died here, but it was a riverbed, so you get them that they were flown, not flown, but flowed down here in the water as they were carried away in this giant riverbed. And so you get them all deposited here from said riverbed, and so you have this giant, massive death quarry. So right off the bat, if you look at this giant flat section here, you'll see a beautiful vertebra there with some ribs coming down from the side with some other ribs under it. That was likely part of a internal skeleton of what could have been a smaller sauropod of some kind. If you really want to get the full display of it, they have the exhibit hall quarry guide here, but you do have to come here and get it, or I guess you could probably find it on eBay. Everything's on eBay. But they have a lot of things from Apatosaurus, Camarasaurus. They have some sauropod gastralia and things like that that are unnamed. They do have some Allosaurus in here. This is probably a sauropod, a smaller sauropod of some kind. You have a bit of the neck up there. You can see that you have some of the spinal cords with some of the parts of the neck kind of still articulated. Same over here, you have some tail, some back legs. It's very all disarticulated. That's what you get from the chaos of a riverbed. But if you look right here at the edge, you find this scapula of I would assume, some sort of sauropod is my guess. Let's see if I can identify where we're looking quite yet. It might be Stegosaurus scapula, if I'm not mistaken. Up there is a Camarasaurus. That part is a Camarasaurus right there, up there. Over here is not labeled in here, it quite looks like, which leads me to think that that smaller scapula might actually be a smaller Camarasaurus or Diplodocus maybe an Apatosaurus, so one of those sauropods. It is pretty big, but it is also next to some other sauropod material, which makes me think that. And they have that beautiful Camarasaurus section up there where you see some of the neck parts that are connected there, and you can see a lot of the indentation and how it's still in the stone, just laying there beautifully. So if you look up from this vertebra with the ribs right here, this giant flat, if you look straight up, you'll see the neck. And I'll put something up on screen so you can see it a lot better. And at the end of it, if you just follow it, you'll see most of the upper jaw of a Camarasaurus. So you're following the vertebra and you'll get to the Camarasaurus. You see them arch down a little bit, and then if you follow it, you'll see it's barely visible from like the right angle. You'll see that Camarasaurus skull kind of resting on what appears to be a rock there. Is a beautiful example. They have the more obvious one over there. I'll put them both up on screen so you can see them a lot cleaner. But this is just absolutely phenomenal. If you get the chance, you need to come out here and check all this out. This is just a beautiful display that shows the actual environment of what these fossils would have are in as they're being excavated. We're now at the bottom of the quarry where we're going to see some other things. It's everything. To put in perspective how high up this is, you can see just if you pan up there, it's so much higher up. We're like 12 feet lower than the actual first layer of bones. That would be where they were likely deposited, and then it was raised up. As we come over here, we get to see some of the creatures of the Jurassic more up close. This is a beautiful Camarasaurus specimen. So you have this Camarasaurus femur right here, this beautiful, it appears to be some kind of, actually this might be real, with some cast epoxy or like plumber's epoxy to fill in the gaps. This is just Camarasaurus femur that was excavated probably right behind us. And then as we come over here, we see the juvenile Camarasaurus fully on display. This like I said, would be a juvenile. Yeah, this is a cast. It says it right here, it's a cast. This is one of the smaller ones that would have been washed away in a flood or something, or if the floodplains rose and then just drug them onto the lake bed and drowned them or something. But this is a beautiful representation of what these Camarasaurus would have looked like. You can see how just, even as like younger, this is like teen. This is like young teen years. This thing is absolutely massive. Oh, God. I'm just enjoying this beauty. I have that beautiful cast skull up there. You have the ornithischian or Saurischian hip. The ornithischian Saurischian thing is a complete debate in and of itself. Y'all probably know I've done an entire series about the dinosaur family trees, and you get sauropods on both depending on who you ask. I call them Saurischian, and they were alone in Saurischian, and then ornithischian's everything else, and it's very, theropods are Saurischian, sauropods are an off branch of ornithischian, kind of in between there with all of the other ornithischian dinosaurs. You do get that somewhat ornithischian, possibly Saurischian hip. But as we come down here, we get my personal favorite dinosaur, the Allosaurus. And it does, ironically, so you have their old Allosaurus right here. I love that art, but it does look like they got some new art, which is beautiful. I love that they're still like hiring paleo artists and things like that. This is specifically Allosaurus gymnodazon, or gymnodazon. Gymnodazon, I call it that because this is how I pronounce it, which is the same specimen as Big Al, and you have this beautiful footprint with some metal bone. That's a metal cast right there, implanted in it. Some toe bones were not found here, so they didn't recreate it, which is beautiful, but you do have this footprint. You have the right forearm with the claws here. Then, we get this beautiful Allosaurus skull here. We do see it's gymnodazon. Fragilis, as we know, has a bit of that thicker jaw, a bit more of a robust jaw. Gymnodazon has this more slender jaw on the bottom. likely because they were more scavenger, is my theory, or my hypothesis is it's likely because they're more of a scavenger or hunted smaller prey, while Fragilis was more of the big game hunter. So you have this beautiful Allosaurus gymnodazon cast reproduction. And as we move over here, we have what appears to be, we get a name for this somewhere. Again, some kind of carnivore here, possibly Torosaurus, maybe. This also might be Allosaurus. I think this is also Allosaurus. Yes, this is also Allosaurus. You have the crest right here. So this is, if you get close here, we have the Allosaurus teeth, serrated, that thick or that thinner jaw, but then you have the crest right here that comes up. So this is Allosaurus as well, which is why it's also in the Allosaurus section. So you have the head disconnected from the body that would have been flooded away during the floodplain. So you have the neck that comes down. You have the Saurischian hip where it's arched, and then you have the two sections that come down versus Ornithischian, which is arched, and then they come down a lot more drastically at a harsher angle. You have the foot up here. You get close to that real quick. You have the foot up here. So it's kind of very, very wonkily flipped over. I put this on back on my hip so I'm not flashing out with the light. So this thing has been flipped over and in the ground or under the water. It landed weird, would have cemented as layers laid over it, and then it warped under the ground as the tectonics happen and the ground shifts. So this part would have been up, so it would have kind of been here, and then the skull would have been down. This is just a cast reproduction, but this is a beautiful, beautiful Allosaurus display. So we come over to where they start showing a lot more of the fossil displays. If you can show this real quick, you see that the baby Camarasaurus they have the cast of, and part of the Allosaurus they have the cast of, would be outside of the wall. You pan up here. It would be outside the wall. So you're not actually seeing where it is. That's what that black line is. But if you look right there, it may be very difficult. So I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to figure out how to circle it in display. We have that the very famous Camarasaurus that they put on everything. But here we do have some of the Carnegie Quarry of some of the other creatures with a lot of the fossils here. If we turn around, we get this giant wall display. And we showing Barosaurus here, one of my personal favorite sauropods that I feel is heavily underrated and I wish we got more of. But here we have Morrison formations, conifer branches, some plants, and petrified wood here to show that it would have been kind of a marshland kind of vibe here with a lake that would be here. Very, very, a little bit, not like a swamp, but like a floodplains, marshlands, those kinds of things. If we get over here, we get some of the life on the ground where we get some of the little tinier reptiles that would have existed with some small crocs running there. We have some little legs and feet. We have a lizard skull here. If you look here, we have a Septodon skull. And then we have some tiny mammals, because mammals were around during that time. They have been around mammals have been around just as long as the dinosaurs, and technically longer now. And as we come over here, we get to see some of the greater dinosaur stuff. With the Stegosaurus backplate, the famous Stegosaurus backplate right there. We have a Stegosaurus thagomizer, the big old tail spike that they would have used to defend themselves. And these are very beautiful displays. And we have this Ornithischian skull and lower jaw. I always love that they put skull and in lower jaw instead of just saying full skull, which is I always love. But this is the Dryosaurus, that very small. Right here. Nope, that's Camptosaurus. We have that Dryosaurus right there. That very small fella right there. And of course, I'll show that Stegosaurus. Y'all know what a Stegosaurus looks like, but I'll show it off because they have some beautiful paleo art of it. And they have this beautiful Stegosaurus right here, too. We come over here to some of those other lizards in the time. You have a river crocodile belly scales. turtles. There's a lot of turtles. Turtles love fossilizing in rivers. It's basically just making a boulder, but we have a lot of turtles and lizards there. Then we come over to some of the sauropods, where we actually have the recent Barosaurus skin impressions. That is our Barosaurus contribution. I love Barosaurus. Barosaurus is amazing. We have this massive Apatosaurus skull right here, and that Chimeras. This is a great display between Camarasaurus teeth and Diplodocus teeth. Here, where you have that shovel-like shape of the Camarasaurus tooth on the left, and then you have the Diplodocus longer, more needle-like thin shape teeth on the right there. That is a beautiful display of that. This is a beautiful recreation of an Apatosaurus skull. You see those teeth in the front, they have that hole in the top of their head. Just in that Barosaurus skin is just amazing. We have that beautiful, these are Camptosaurs. We have the Diplodocoids and Diplodocus right here. We have the Apatosaurus. Then we come to the just crown jewel, lion of the Jurassic, honey badger monster beast itself, Allosaurus. This is most likely Allosaurus fragilis. You have that thicker lower jaw there, the more defined crest, the more robust head. Again, my new working theory is that Allosaurus fragilis was the more aggressive one that would have targeted the sauropods, and the Stegosaurus Gymnodazon might have been this scavenger one with that less robust jaw. But this entire massive beauty of a skeleton with the Allosaurus there, and this, yes, right on the money. Allosaurus fragilis, getting really good at telling these apart. I'm really happy about that. This appears to be a cast recreation of an Allosaurus skull that was found. You have the air sacs, or this big hole there, and the one right below the nostril. You have the nostril there. You have the eye back here, and the ear would have been up in there. This is a beautiful recreation of this Allosaurus fragilis here. As you can see, that bottom lower jaw there is much more robust than our Gymnodazon friend over there. And actually, I think this is Allosaurus Gymnodazon on the side here. And as we come over here, we get one of the most beautiful things that we've seen to date with the other Allosaurus right here, sadly. Juvenile Stegosaurus. It is sadly being eaten by an Allosaurus. This shows the remains that there would have been juvenile Stegosaurus. I do not remember off the top of my head, but juvenile Stegosaurs do have plates, and they're depicting them as plates, having plates. And I think that would indicate that it is not necessarily only for a sexual display to help attract a mate, because it isn't something that grows in, it is something that is there very early on. And it's not something that appears with sexual maturity, it is something that is there from their young. This is a beautiful section of a little Stegosaurus baby here. But I'm still just awe-founded by this entire Allosaurus fragilis. And you have some beautiful footprints here. This is an amazing quarry, and we get this amazing view of these fossils right along the edge here. Right outside there would have been some other stuff. This is just a beautiful quarry, and if you get the chance, you need to come out. Right off the bat, this quarry is really cool because not only do you get to see a lot of these species higher up, you see a lot of skeleton, but you can get this close to real bone still in stone. So you're getting really, really close. I'm trying to get as close as I can with this GoPro. But this massive wall just covered in bone is absolutely phenomenal. You have every little bit of just chunks of dinosaur in there. And so you get these vertebrae down here that are absolutely amazing and beautiful to look at. This quarry is so awesome. In here, they have a beautiful section. So this one they have in a partial cast here, which I think is silly. But you actually get to come and touch some of this real sauropod bone still in the quarry. And I think that's so cool that they get to do. that you get to, these bones are so secured, and sauropod bones are so just dense and thick and just reserved that you get to actually come up and see some of these little things, like this vertebra here. You have these leg bones here, all over them, and even this entire section of a scapula, or the shoulder of some kind of sauropod here. With even just, it comes down. I think this is actually might be part of a rib with a leg there, but like you get to just come here and you're allowed to touch it, like right here. You're getting to like get to feel the bones in the quarry, and it's so amazing. Even up in here, you have this bone up in here that's still partially buried. It's such a beautiful display to get to come down here and then just look, feel, and even possibly study these bones. So here we actually have this display. I realized I skipped over it on pure accident. We see some of those little turtle shells. You see some coprolite, which is dinosaur dookie, and you see some clam shells, lungfish. You see a lot of these tiny little fossils that are embedded deep in there. And this tells us what the environment would have been like with the shells. As we come over here, we can actually see where Dinosaur National Monument is in comparison to the Morrison Formation. So this would all be the Morrison Formation going up into Canada, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, all up in there. You get the large Morrison Formation, but Dinosaur National Monument's like a hotbed in like a good chunk of it, which is why Wyoming has so much Jurassic fossils in it. It's because it's like dead middle of like the Morrison Formation. So we know that this was like a fossil bed in a lake like that because of a lot of these fossils that we find, like shrimp and, not shrimp, but like fish and turtles and alligators and crocodiles and things like that, that only really exists near a lake bed. One thing I want to show off here is some of the creatures that we show. So here we have Torvosaurus, which is one of those big bruisers with those very robust jaws. Kind of like T-Rex. It's a megalosaurid, not a tyrannosaur. We have Drysaurus down there, very beautiful. We have our beautiful Chimerosauruses right here. We have the juvenile and the mama. But this Torvosaurus, this massive Torvosaurus right here. We come over here, we have this Ceratosaurus feasting on the remains of some kind of, possibly, most likely sauropod. We have that beautiful Barosaurus right there. And as you go down, you see some of the remnants of those crocodiles and alligators, looking back at this beautiful Chimerosaurus. As we come around the Stegosaurus display, you get to see these beautiful crocs and things around there. And you do see a lot of these crocs because it is near a river environment. So you do see a lot of good preservation here because the water at the bottom, since it's a lake, would be anoxic. So the rapid burial would quickly cover fossils that get washed into the lake or down the river. And you get very good preservation at this time. And, excuse me, we have this beautiful Stegosaurus here. This very robust body, this tail, these beautiful, massive, towering plates. It's Thagomizer right there. You see these shells. As we come around, we do see this crocodile. We'll go over here. We see this Diplodocus and those Chimerosaurs. We have our Apatosaurus right here. Then we have our Allosaurs, Allosaurus fragilis, Allosaurus gemidazin, possibly Allosaurus anax down at the end. We're still questioning that one. I still call it Saurophaganax, but we do see a lot of those beautiful sauropods. This is a beautiful mural. So now we're going to start their fossil discovery trail, and we're going to walk through some stump spurs, Morrison spurs. We're at the quarry exhibit hall, and we're going to hike down to the main visitor center, and we're just going to see if we find anything cool and point it out. And I'm really looking forward to this. So let's get this hike started. If you do come on this hike, the one survival thing you need, make sure you bring water. It's going to be hot, and you're going to want it. So it is a beautiful formation, but we got to remember federal law, protect it for everybody else. No disruption of fossils, rocks, artifacts, plants, animals, antlers, or other objects. This is federal land, so you got to make sure You're not stealing stuff, so everybody else can enjoy it. So you can get the full, I'm trying to get as much as possible. So we're going to check out the stump formation, which has clams and other marine fossils. So we're going to hike this way, and we're going to see what we find embedded in the stone while we just enjoy this hike. So we've made it to the stump formation. You get little clam fossils. So if we get close here, you can see them all right here. Big old chunks of clam, I think. And that's, you have some there. So I'm sure they're literally just littering the side of all these rocks, all these fossils. I think there's technically a path there, but I think we might hold off because it looks like a very difficult path. What's the point of having a difficult path if nobody's going to go on it? So this looks like a section. There's footprints here, so that seems to be a good sign. You see a lot of dirt and rocks here, and apparently shale, it seems. I have no idea how far up the hill this goes from the stump formation. Because that's the stump formation down there on the side of that hill. Just come up here. This is very, very steep. The point where I might need to put down this camera or duct tape it to my body. There's still footprints here, so hopefully that's a good sign. There's something there, some plants. Desert plants, they all look dead and raggedy. Down there's the stump formation. Over there. Try not to fall down a mountain. That'd suck. Come up here. Beautiful view of the quarry, hall. Make sure if you're doing this, you pack good shoes, clothes that are breathable, and plenty of water. They do have water bottle refill stations. There's the stump formation, but there ain't none in the wild. So do keep that in mind, because there's nothing out here but sand, rock, fossil, bone. There's still footprints and things here. You get all the way up here, try to get a really good view of everything. It looks like it keeps going. With all that sand's over there. Because that right there is the stump formation. There's the quarry hole. Prospecting on uncharted lands or something here. Except we're not actually prospecting because I'm not taking anything. But it seems there's kind of a partial trail from the stump formation here, or it's a dried up riverbed or something. Here is a old dried up creek or lake or something. So we're gonna, this is not a trail. So we're gonna get back up onto that weird little short path I found. And we're gonna just keep going back to that crossroads where we saw the stump formation sign. And then from there, we're gonna go that way and check out the Morrison Formation and the rest. I'm looking forward to showing this off. I hope you're all enjoying this very beautiful view of everything. Very, very beautiful view. Get a complete 180 here. Let's head back down and see if we can get down safely without me dying. Yeah, I got these good hiking boots. I wore black pants like a dingus. They're gonna get filthy, but make sure you're wearing good shoes. Make sure you're wearing good shoes, because if you want to take some of these paths, the actual paved paths are fine. You'll be fine. But it is still very rocky, and you're going to be doing a lot of walking if you want to do the hikes. So make sure you're wearing comfortable things that support your feet, that you can go long distances in. So we're basically back down to the stump formation. Which was right out there. Was where we were. We were like right up there. Look around the large rocks on the ground in this area. You may find small clam fossils. These fossils reveal the ocean once covered this areas. Belemnite, ammonites both reveal relatives of squids, snails, and ichthyosaurs, a large marine reptile. Fossils are also found in the stump formation. But yeah, very beautiful formation. If you get the chance, check it out. So from the top of the mountain, this is actually the same exact dried out creek that was right up there that we see, that we just saw. That was all the way up there. And it just comes down. It would have flown that way, but it's hot. We're in the desert of Utah, basically. So there's no water. There's no water in this creek anymore. So it's dried out. And you can see where it winded, the cut banks and the other banks. I'm blanking on them, blanking on my creek anatomy. It's hot. But yeah, now let's go check out the Morrison Formation section once we get back to this sign. It really wasn't that far, but yeah, let's just get back to this sign and we'll check out the Morrison Formation section. You have the main fossil quarry right up there. This is what the paths usually look like, but still make sure you're wearing good shoes, because your feet will hurt if you wear Crocs or sandals like a goofy. You see there's that same creek that came through here. We're back to the sign and we're going to start heading through the Morrison Formation. This beautiful section here. Right up there, you have the beautiful overlays of the Morrison. Beautiful colors, that red, the purples. So we're gonna check out the Morrison Formation and head back to the visitor center and see from there. So we reached a little stop place here. They have these little slabs here. I think it's very cool. We got these big chunks. We're now in the Morrison. So if you keep an eye out, you might see some wild fossils embedded right in the side of the wall. Of course, you can't collect them, but they're absolutely beautiful to see out in the wild like that. And if I come across any, I'll do my best to point them out. But yeah, we're now entering the Morrison, where you have this pretty purple and red and orangish color. I love Dinosaur National Monument. This place is gorgeous. This place is beautiful. You have beautiful shots here. So this is actually a really close-up look of the Morrison, of those chunks of fossils there, of these beautiful strips of what look a little bit like quartz-ish, some faulted quartz. This is just a beautiful view right here. And I'll turn around to this wall right here. You might find some stuff. You're looking out onto like someone's ranch there, so this is really cool. But Morrison Formation dinosaur fossils along the cliff face of this spur trail. Numerous dinosaur fragments and a few large bones are still embedded in the rock. White arrows mark the larger fossils. Look for impressions of clams along the fossils. So if we're here, you can see up in there, that little cliff there. If you just pay attention, you'll get to see some smaller fossil. I think some there, maybe. Might be something there. The sign said white arrow markers. Watch for falling rocks. If you hear cracking or popping noises or see falling rocks, leave the area immediately. Yeah, duly noted. Definitely duly noted. Here's a white marker. So here's that bone right down here. Get right up in there. I can't even see the screen. Put you under my hat here real quick. You have that bone right there, right there. This beautiful display of just wild fossil bone right in the quarry. So if you see these white markers, if you come out here, that's usually a good indicator of wild fossil. If you see one in the video and I don't, feel free to comment the timestamp and write about where. That might be something. I don't know what that is, but that might be something. There's some here, it looks like. Maybe some there, a little bit. There's definitely some there, right there. That's bone, that's bone. If I didn't want to go to federal prison, if I didn't care about going to federal prison, I'd ship some of this out, but I don't want to do that, so we're going to leave it in the wall. This is a beautiful display. This is what the other side looks like. It's not that far of a drop, but it's still far enough that you'll get hurt, so I gotta be very careful leaning my head far back. It's very, very steep up ahead here, these stairs. That might be something too, right there. And some very steep stairs here. See the wall, look at the wall. See if I notice anything cool. No, that might be like quartz or something. Those might be something though. Look at that. That's beautiful. That rock right there. That might actually be a hunk of fossil. It looks weird. It looks different. Although that might be a rock layer. They have a no hiking sign, so I don't think we're allowed up there. I'm not allowed to film up there. There's some fossil too. Extend it right there. That's fossil. That appears to be fossil. Right up there. See if I see any more real quick. There might be some right there. I'm pretty far, so I can't actually make it out. If there isn't, bear with me. But yeah. It's just the Morrison, so that might be anything from Camarasaurus to Barosaurus to Stegosaurus to Stegosaurus, Allosaurus, Torvosaurus, Ceratosaurus. It could be anything from the Jurassic. We're sitting in the Morrison. This is beautiful though. Looking out like this. And that we'll follow this. We'll go back down and we'll follow it around there to the visitor center. These are some steep steps. So be careful, make sure to watch your step. Make sure your shoelaces are tied and tucked, because the last thing you'd want to do is step on a lace and fall down this mountain. As we're walking, I'll see if I spot any more fossils or white markers to kind of show them off to you. It's a very beautiful formation, though. Very beautiful formation. You have a lot of different layers here. That might be something. That is though. That looks like something. So I just saw that there. This here looks like something. Maybe some kind of petrified wood, but it's something. Back at this sign, coming through. Back at the Morrison Formation info sign. Here. So we're gonna head down this way and head towards the visitor center. And if I find anything else cool, I'll let y'all know. I hope I do. I hope I find something really cool so I can point it out to y'all. And then maybe the monument will send somebody out here and be like, follow his video, get to where he was and dig it out. And probably not though, because if it's there, they probably want people to be able to enjoy it. But here we have another beautiful showing of the Morrison with these layers. You have that purple strip there. Yeah. So we're just gonna keep hiking. Here's that same creek from earlier, dried out. And when it rains, I bet that thing flows like a angry river. That might be a path. This looks like some kind of weird path that they'd have. They have this marker right here. If anybody knows what this is, please let me know. This is like let's get to this edge here. We can turn around. Yeah, it goes down. You have another section there, another landfall area there. Yeah. We go back to the path real quick. And we'll keep following it to the visitor center. I'll hold you on this side so y'all can see the cool Allosaurus and Allosaurus tooth cast that I got from not Wyoming Dinosaur Center, from the Glenrock Paleon Museum. That's where I got it. Make sure I'm staring at the side of the ground and point any cool fossils out to y'all. I'll show y'all the ground too so y'all can see them. Maybe y'all can point them out. Yeah, you know what? I think there's a brick. Or just kidding, that's just some big old rock. I'm messing. If somebody is really that dedicated, make a video pausing every time there's a fossil and circle it. Send that video to me, and I'll sit there and I'll do a me reacting to it or something. I have no idea. I'll put it up on my channel. But yeah, this massive layer of rock here. You have this nice little alcove here. You get this beautiful picture right here. I think it's absolutely gorgeous view. Come over here, see some more. I'll keep showing you all the view. I'm gonna go to those GoPro battery dies. I have one extra, but that one's at 100%, so we got plenty. I'll release a 10-hour video if that's how long I spent here. But I think we got to get to like the petroglyphs area. I think there's still like petroglyphs and stuff to look at. My question is, what kind of formation is that? That ain't seem natural. You have that same dried out creek right there. This massive cliffside. Oh, this beautiful view. Again, make sure you drink plenty of water. Need to build a sewer system, I guess, to get that area up there. It's a beautiful formation. It's some of that ironish, rolled off iron. This beautiful sandstone looking formation right here. You get that red there. It's most likely from iron of some kind flowing down and depositing and then being oxidized as like the water or the minerals kind of are separated. You have that conglomerate layer and a huge like sandstone looking layer with many layers there. It's a very beautiful formation. We got a sign right here. We will go check out what this sign says. Look out in the vast Utah nothingness, the mountains in the distance. So we got here. This is the Maori shale or fish scale fossil. You'll see fish scale fossils. The dark gray to golden colored circles on flat gray pieces are fish scales. Strong currents at the bottom of the shallow sea possibly tore the decomposing bodies apart, leaving only fragments of the fish like these scales to be fossilized. I don't know if there's a path here, but yeah, I'm gonna see if I can, if you go back to this sign, because I completely forgot what, dark gray to golden colored circles on flat gray rock pieces. So if you find any flat gray rock, like up in here, you're likely looking at some kind of fish scale. Oh, this area is closed for something. Do not enter, stay on the established trail. That's a little, the fact that these are torn down is a little ominous, but I guess I won't be showing y'all that today. Good excuse to say, hey, if you want to check it out at a later date, you got to come here. Beautiful formation. Go support Dinosaur National Monument. Beautiful monument. So we're going to keep going back down this trail towards the visitor center, and we'll see what we find. I think we got some pictographs and things still that we haven't seen. I feel like I remember them being near water for some reason. I could be losing my mind from this heat. Wouldn't be the first, probably won't be the last time. That giant hole over there. Wonder what lives up in there. But yeah, there's this same creek that flows down here. It's beautiful rock formations. Yeah. There's the actual road, which means we're not far from the visitor center. Looks like another path this way that goes around, maybe back up into that tree. Which means nature's telling me to go show y'all this tree for some reason. Because there's another path here. I think people are just walking and creating unofficial paths. Dinosaur National Monument. If you're listening to this, you should totally put like a bench right here in the shade, in this nice shaded tree area, so people can come and sit down for a little bit, for a second. And this same creek bed too, that's been arching around and following us down from that hill, from that first formation, through the Morrison, through this formation. And we're getting here to this area. Just turn around one last time and show this beautiful rock formation. It's absolutely beautiful. Take some pictures. Talking to myself, y'all can take screenshots if y'all want, but I think I'd advise coming out and seeing it. I was right. Pictographs are coming up. We have the creek bed there. We get here. These are ancient pictographs. Notice archaeological resources in this area. Are fragile and irreplaceable. The Archaeological Resources Protection Act of 1979 protects them for the benefit of all. Any person who excavates, removes, damages, alters, or defaces any archaeological resource on the public land of the United States is subject to arrest and felony prosecution. If you observe a violation, record all important information and contact a ranger or call those numbers. Inform leads. Reward up to $5,000. I'm gonna go find somebody to touch these so I can make 5K real quick. I'm messing, but look at these, and people have already defaced it, which is just disgusting. I hate that these people put this ugly modern crap that doesn't have any. But it's also weird to think that like 10,000 years from now, that might be a pictograph for us, for future archaeologists. But yeah, you see this weird pictograph here. You get some weird ones down there. You get them up here too. They're covering this wall. And you get the, it's like sweat. The like iron is sweating down the side and spreading down the side, and it's staining it. So this is like stained sandstone. It says this area is off limits. This trail, it goes up in there. I'm willing to bet it goes to those facilities over there, which are some like paleontologists and stuff doing actual work. Might break the rules, go say hi, messing. But there's this beautiful, massive rock formation. You can see the main visitor center down at the end there, all the way down there. Let's just get like a quick 180 from all the way up there. Turn y'all straight and see it. Beautiful views of everything around. But we're gonna keep walking. We're so close to the visitor center. I've had this shirt, this Dinosaur National Monument shirt. Y'all probably seen it in interviews and all kinds of things. This is one of my favorite shirts. I've had it for like 6 years now, or whatever, 6 to 8 years or whatever, whenever the last time I was here. Woo, try not to fall. So I'm gonna get a new one, maybe in a new color so I can tell them apart. And there's another sign here. Yep, federal law prohibits removal or disturbance of fossils, rocks, artifacts, plants, animals, antlers, and other objects. Don't touch anything. Although, that looks like a beautiful piece of chert right there, which can form through volcanic activities and what Native Americans would have chipped away at to turn into an arrowhead. Little fun fact, I just looked down and saw that there. But yeah, look at this massive rock formation right here. This beautiful rock formation. So we'll keep walking. I think they're doing excavation right over there. Really makes me want to walk over there and be like, yo, I'm going into y'all's field. Can I join? But I'm messing. I'm just a tourist right now, enjoying this beautiful scenery, the beautiful rock formations, and dinosaurs. Just like everybody else that comes to this amazing park, this amazing thing. You have these very beautiful rock formations here. We're pretty close to the visitor center. We're just inching close. It's like right over there. You can probably see it. So we're just gonna hike. I'm gonna let y'all observe these fossil formations. And when we get down to that visitor center, I'm gonna do actually, a little sneak peek into my editing process. I had to skip the visitor center because it was crammed full of people, and I don't think I could have recorded well. It would have been really loud and very difficult. It's probably still crammed full of people and really loud and disruptive, etc., etc. But I'm recording it after everything. I'm gonna plop it right on the front. So it looks like I recorded it first, so y'all get the full experience of coming, reaching the visitor center, then going up to the fossil quarry, then hiking down. Of course you can hike up, but it's literally the same hike we're doing down, just in reverse. Just figured that's probably worth stating. Some beautiful rock formations here. A lot of desert plants too. Go figure, we're in a desert. But yeah, we're gonna just inch closer to this, to the visitor center. Show off some of this beautiful rock formation. Make sure you bring plenty of water and good shoes. I keep repeating that, but I feel like it's very important to say. Along with leave wildlife alone. You do have the like ranger area / paleontologist area / who knows what right here. We need to walk right by it with this path. We'll just let y'all enjoy this rock formation. So we keep walking, we keep hiking. We're coming up to some signs up there though. If I hold it up like this, maybe y'all can see a lot better than I can because y'all are about 7 feet in the air now. Probably like 10 actually, but you also get like burrows and holes and things like that from animals. So you do get slight wildlife. You do see a lot of birds. Birds are duh. We saw a tiny mammal when we pulled into the parking lot. I didn't get close enough to identify what it was, but I did see it dart under some cars. I didn't record it. I didn't think about that, but there's the possibility. You see there's 2 burrows right there, 2, possibly 3 little caves for wildlife. It's literally like beach sand under our feet too. It's like walking on beach sand. It's so like smooth. Point y'all that way so I can get that view too. Oh, there's a lizard right here. I'm gonna not bother it. I'm gonna try to get it on camera for y'all. You see it in there, little desert lizard there. See it scampering across the grass, or the sand there. I put a video I record from my phone because I can actually zoom in on my phone. Try to get close to it. I gotta stay back though. I don't want to. That little guy scampering off. That thing's big too. It's big for a little lizard there. But see, wildlife. What did I just say? Cool wildlife too. Little desert lizard. If you can identify it, because I didn't get close enough to be like, it's this species of whatever lizard in Utah. If you can identify it, feel free to comment it down below if you just know what it is. I think that'd be so cool for other people to get educated in my comment section through other people about like wildlife and things like that. I focus on the dead stuff, not necessarily the living stuff, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy the living stuff. But look at this beautiful rock formation. And one thing you do gotta watch out for, cacti. I feel like this should go without saying, but don't touch them. Don't take your shoes off and step on them. They'll hurt, they prick, they prickle. They're cacti, no duh. But we're coming up to where you get on the, when you're on the like tram, trolley, whatever they call it, you start to go up the mountain. You get these massive fence here. Very beautiful area. Nice little bridge here. Very beautiful section. Ranger automobile. Go ahead and cross the road. Very beautiful. And there, right there, is our visitor center where we started our journey. And when we go back in the visitor center, the gift shop, things like that. I know everybody loves a good gift shop. Dinosaur National Monument is pretty cool. They have some really cool casts of mostly seeming Allosaurus. They have some other ones. I'll I'll show them off, because why not? Because we're here. But you come here, make sure to get something cool too. Because I know you can get an Allosaurus hand, and I got the Allosaurus maxilla they have from the Morrison Museum. But that one's special because I got it from the Morrison Museum. And if you get one here, I have an Allosaurus hand claw I got from Dinosaur National Monument the first time I came. I think it's so special to me. It's like my centerpiece because I got it from here. This is a trip I loved, and so I'm going to get something again. That's going to be the same thing, but just a different trip. I have the first one, the second one. So make sure you do the same. It adds to the experience. It's this beautiful rock display, though. But yeah, we're almost here. We have this big sign here. When we get there, I'll show it off to y'all. Yeah, don't walk on there. That's wildlife land. You step on it, feral rabbits will attack. I'm messing. Maybe. Who knows? It's beautiful out here. It's a nice day too. It's like not too hot, but it's not too cold. The sun's beating down, keeping you warm. We have a big sign here. This is their trails, rules, regulation. This is the stump spurs, the Morrison spur. You go up there. So we went up here. We kind of went around. Went up here. We came down. We came around. Now we're back at the Quarry Visitor Center. Here. And the visitor center right there. So let's head on inside. You see there's Stegosaurus right there that you will have seen at the front of the episode. We'll put that on the front. They have their awesome Stegosaurus statue right there. There's their front doors. Now, I drink all my water coming down that mountain. So we're gonna head inside and refill it. We'll go fill up my water bottle. We'll check out that visitor center. These are the casts that I was talking about earlier, the Allosaurus arm. That's the one I have. They have a foot. I have that same maxilla from Morrison Museum. But they have like just cool stuff that they have on display here that you can totally get. It's absolutely amazing. Even if you don't want a full cast, you get a hat similar to mine. You get little casts too from some smaller things or just some other stuff. So yeah, totally if you get the chance to come out and get something cool to make your trip memorable so you can remember your trip. I had a fun time at Dinosaur National Monument, got some goodies too. If you get the chance, make sure to come out here. This is an amazing place. It's very beautiful, very worth the travel. It's like a calling card and a mandatory for anybody that's a paleo enthusiast. But I hope you've all enjoyed this episode. Remember, keep it prehistoric. Goodbye.